and welcome back to the channel. I'm Babyface P, and today at step 2 we are going to populate the barrel outside of the receiver. So last time we pushed the barrel in, headspace it, and populated it. Today what we're going to end up doing is using our front trunnion. We're going to set the headspace. Yes, I have gauges this time. Set the headspace, drill the gas port, populate everything on top, pin it, push it back out. And then on step 3, we'll go ahead and start working on the receiver, getting the trunnions in and stuff like that. But for today, we're gonna do it this way. This is new, I've not tried this before, so let me bring you guys in. We'll get started on this. I think this is going to, be pretty good actually. I think we're gonna like the way we do this. So let's do it. All right, gentlemen, here's what we got. So you can see on this barrel, these marks are going to be top dead center. So they've already machined that in for us. It's really nice. They've also already machined in the grooves on the side for the handguard retainer. So we're going to use what we have here plus the handguard retainer as our top dead center. Handguard retainer goes on like that, and you flip the little lever when it's over the dimple, like that, and up. Handguard retainer is, for the most part, top dead center. Like I said, we also have this to help us. So when we go to, let me put it like this so you guys can see. Come on. Come on, here we go. When we go to put our trunnion on, which is the first thing we're gonna do, is put our trunnion and headspace the trunnion. That is, if I can get it in there, there we go. Is to make sure that when you see all that play there, basically this is headspace. Use my old trusty pointer. So here's what headspace is. Your trunnion is here, your barrel is here, your bolt is here. Currently, this gap here is our headspace. You can see obviously it's way out. There's no way you could ever fire this like that. It would just blow the case out. So what you do when you headspace a gun is as the bolt comes in and cams over to close, you have all this wiggle room to play with here. So on your 2 gauges, which we'll have, your no-go gauge, when it goes to cam like that and lock, that's the locked position, it shouldn't be able to fully cam over and lock. It should go maybe halfway. That would be a good no-go. When you have your go gauge, in the same way, it should be able to cam completely and lock up where the bolt face back here and the bolt face underneath are locked in completely perfectly. So remember, go gauge should go perfectly. No go, you shouldn't be able to lock your bolt in. That will give you good headspace. We'll do that as we go. So as we push this trunnion further onto the barrel, it will bring the chamber face in closer. And as we get closer and closer to having the chamber back here, we'll then start headspacing little by little and make sure that we don't have excessive or too much, too little headspace. So let me bring the press over. We're gonna start pressing this thing in, and we'll start headspacing. We're always gonna make sure that this is top dead center lined up with our front notch. Press it together, start headspacing, pin it, and then we'll build the rest of the receiver out, or rest of the front barrel out. So let's get it. All right, here's what we got. You can see there's a little bit of gap there where you gotta take up, but basically, I'm gonna use a penny as the top section because it's softer than the steel, so it will protect the crown. But we are just going to push it in halfway, and then we're gonna start checking headspace and go slowly from there. So let me get this. We're going to put our penny on top of the muzzle as a crown guard. Make sure this is nice and square and lined up, and start pressing it in. It should seat in there pretty nicely. Yeah, see, it's going in really easily. We're going to go right to about there. We're going to stop, and I'll show you how to check headspace. And then we're going to adjust from there. All right, let's move back to the bench. All right, let's check the headspace on this. So again, you can see we have moved the chamber in way closer than it was. So your bolt will fit in like normal, and I'm not putting a gauge on yet. You'll see it'll go in and move. So right now, you can see we still have quite a bit of gap. So this bolt gap here is a problem. So this is gonna have to come back further. But just to show you, I did pick up a go and a no-go headspace gauge. So this is from Mason. Go and no-go. I have a no-go over there. All you gotta do, click it in behind your ejector. It's going to go in there. And basically the go should always close. So you should always be able to close the go like this fully. When we put the no-go, it should not lock in. So let me push this in a little bit further and we'll check headspace one more time. All right, we got the headspace set. So when you go to do this, you're gonna go most of the way in. The last couple times you press the barrel in, go really slow, be very gentle, because if you overdo it, you have to press this back out, and that's always a massive pain in the ass. So I always try to tell people, go slow when you're setting headspace. Take your time, you don't wanna go over. So I'll show you, we have the go gauge. So here's go. When you put the bolt in, you'll see it'll rotate over. It's nice and snug and it's got a good lockup. No forward to backward movement. It's got a little wobble, but that's normal for an AK. Notice the locking lug comes all the way over to the trunnion, all the way down, it sits flush. Switch out to the no-go, and it should never close on a no-go. So this is our no-go gauge. Goes in, and when you go to seat it, it stops. It won't go any further. I can press hard, and it won't move, and it locks up. Should not close on a no-go. So there you go. We are now head-spaced. Go works, no-go doesn't work, and if you had a field is bigger than a no-go. I always don't worry about using a field unless you have a beat to shit AK. Just buy a go and a no-go. There you go, proper headspace. Next up, we are going to put this in the machine, the lathe, drill and pin this across wherever the pinhole is. I think it's this big one here. Gonna pin it in so it doesn't move. Then we're going to move forward and start pinning up the rest of the barrel. So that's bad news, gentlemen. The parts kit did not come with a barrel pin. Yours, if you bought one from somewhere, yours probably will. I'm gonna have to go send a nasty text to Brandon Herrera and tell him he needs to give me a barrel pin. But no, it doesn't really matter. I have a lathe and some W2, I think it's W2, drill rod. This is hardened steel drill rod. So I'm gonna take this over to the lathe. You can see it's almost the right size. It's just oversized a little bit. We're going to cut that pin and then use this 11 mil reamer. So 7 mil reamer, I think actually. So we're gonna cut the pin down to just over 7 mil. You can't even see that. And then we're gonna ream it with a 7 mil and insert our new pin. But give me what's gonna seem to you like no time, and it'll probably be like 45 minutes. But I'll be back. I'm gonna go make this real quick. All right, so we got this pinned in for now. The pin is obviously still sticking out the other side. I didn't pin it all the way because we still need to take the barrel off to put the trunnion in. So next up, we are going to start assembling the rest of the parts. We need to put our, not through there, rear sight base will need to go on, and we'll square that up. We need to put on our gas block. I'll probably, before I put the gas block on, I'll probably drill this out. So we can do that real quick. We'll put our gas block on. Well, we gotta put our hand guard retainer, which is over here. Make sure we don't lose anything. Hand guard retainer goes on. Like that. There we go. Handguard retainer, gas block, front sight, which goes this way. all of that will need to be put on, pressed in place, drilled, pinned, and then we should be good to move forward. So let me get this drilled out. I'm gonna drill out the gas port real quick. And we need to press this on. Let's get started. Gentlemen, and just like that, you have a barreled upper, a populated upper receiver. You can call it that, populated barrel. So last couple things that I didn't do on camera, these holes all have to be drilled. Really easy. I have a drill press or a milling machine, and so I could use that. You could also just do it by hand. It's not really that hard. Go get some good drill bits, find the ones that fit correctly, and a plug-in drill has a little more torque than a battery drill, but drill them out, take your pins, press them in on the press, or if you have to just use a hammer, press them in knock them in with a hammer, and you're pretty much done here. So that's the only thing I haven't done because I need to it's missing a couple of these pins, so I'm gonna make these on the lathe. So I'm gonna wrap the video up, then head over to the lathe and make a couple pins real quick and knock them in. But that's pretty much it for populating a barrel. This is probably one of the harder things to do, no doubt. But, left-handed thread and we're done. Don't forget when you are putting your front pin, your very front pin in up here, to install the spring and the detent that holds your muzzle brake on. But beyond that, it's pretty much done. Next thing we're gonna do, next video next week, we are going to press the front trunnion back off of the barrel. So all this will stay the same, other than we're going to take the big barrel pin out, press this off, then we're going to start fitting it. As you can see on our receiver flat, we have no holes. So we're going to take our time next week and measure out where all the holes go, drill them in. Again, you don't have to do it on a machine. We can drill them in by hand. We have to dimple the one that goes right here, dimple the back ones, and then we're going to basically, once we get the receiver drilled out, ready to go, we're just going to start going for it. We're going to go ahead and put the front and rear trunnions in, start building the furniture. And once that's all in, once we get the rails welded in, we're almost there. We're very close to a test fire. So a couple things to remember from this video. Headspace is very, very important. I don't think I stressed that last time we built an AK. It's a little expensive, buy your headspace gauges. Beyond that, it's just a matter of taking your time, making sure everything lines up across the top. You don't have to do it by machine or by anything else. You can eyeball it. And you can see this entire thing is dead nuts on. It is perfect top dead center. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. But let me wrap this one up. If you guys are liking this type of thing, give me a thumbs up. Polish Tantal pretty cool. I'm getting excited building this. So we will see you guys. I'll see you guys next week when we start on the receiver. All right, see you guys.